Hello. How is everyone going? I'm just going to quickly check my live stream just to make sure my audio levels are okay. What's my YouTube channel called? Okay, maybe that might help a little bit more if I turn that right down. Maybe? I think it needs to... That's probably it right there. Let's see how that goes. Using my phone. I think it needs to... That's probably it right there. Let's see how that goes. Okay. The 20-second odd delay there just burning me a little bit. Okay, well, welcome to my live stream. Actually, I wonder if Twitch is working, because I'm streaming to Twitch, but I think it's not working. If I look for me, let's see, is that doing anything? No, and I'm wondering if it's because my bitrate's too high on Twitch. Yeah, 8,000. Twitch broadcasting guidelines. Oh, I can hear myself on my phone. I'm reading the guide right here, which to be honest doesn't make any sense to me, and I think yeah, so 88,000. So let me adjust that here. Try that out. Sorry, technical difficulties. Don't think that's actually going to do anything looking at the hang on. I don't know why Twitch isn't working. This is the usual black screen. Sweet. That's so good. I wonder why that doesn't work. Maybe 7,000. Okay, I'll play with it a little bit longer and then I will be forced to give up. Negative Ghost Rider. That Twitch stream does not work at all. It is just black. Hey Ted, how are ya? Macromedia Fireworks. I've never used that. Is that like I've used Dreamweaver back in the day. Alright, well I'm gonna bump my YouTube bitrate right up again. Still don't know why. Constant bitrate 5,000. All right. Same, but they sold out. Yeah, to Adobe, wasn't it? Adobe bought them. Just realised that I'm only sharing this one window, so yeah. Well, might as well crack on. Doing just a casual stream today, which I don't normally live stream any of this stuff, but oh gosh, I got to turn myself off on the Twitch, which doesn't appear to be working at all. Maybe if I turn it off and back on, it might do something. Yeah, it used to be a really popular product. It works on Windows 11, geez. 32-bit application, isn't it? I also used the one where you can animate stuff. Macromedia Flash, I think it was. You can make keyframes and all of that. And used to make stick people. Hey, my Twitch stream's working now. Perfect. Okay, good to know that that doesn't work. And now I've got to get my chat to work. Oh, do you know why? It's because I haven't put my live stream. Wow. Talk about a rookie. There we go. Okay. That only took like almost 15 minutes to get going. God, I'm glad I don't do this for a living. This is shit. Yeah, they did really, didn't they? I'm gonna look at Macromedia Fireworks. Oh yeah, and I gotta turn myself off on this so I don't have to listen to that. Oh, Vector Graphics Editor. 1998 to 2012. Now called Adobe Fireworks. And the final release for that was in 2012 with CS6 before Adobe looks like they have killed that off. I tell you, some of those, like, I know people always chase the newer software and stuff, but I mean, you know, if the old stuff still works, then, you know, like, why bother upgrading, you know? Okay. Well, yeah, so basically I'm editing some photos that I took today and the other weekend if I'm lucky. These ones are from my last trip to Nelson, and these are kind of resized because I put them on my Instagram page, which I don't really like posting photos to Instagram. I find that it's not really a photography platform anymore. It used to be, I think, when it first was a thing. But yeah. So yeah, these are some of my last ones I was editing. Got some nice monarch butterflies. We're right up to the top of the South Island of New Zealand. And I took my camera. I have two cameras. Both of them are Fujifilm. They were kind of cheaper at the time when I got them. So I started off with this little XT30. So it's quite small. And it had a really crappy 15 to 45mm lens on it, and that's what I started with. And then I bought this lens, which is a 18 to 55mm f2.8, which is quite nice. And that is a really good budget first zoom lens. So if you're ever on X mount and you know you want a decent sort of kit lens, or even though it's not actually a kit lens, well, actually I think you can buy it as a kit. Fujifilm used to sell like the 16 to 80, 15 to 45, a bunch of others, XF lenses, and yeah, that's what I started with. And that little camera has traveled the world with me actually. When I used to do I used to set up sites, international sites and things, their networking computers and things like that. I didn't get much time to travel unfortunately, but it's alright. So yeah, I took that. Well, I didn't bring that camera. I've got an X-T4 that I bought used, and that's what I do on my YouTube videos with. And I took that up. Yeah. To Nelson, and I had that other camera has a 16 to 80 f4 lens on it, which I really like as well. That's been my go-to. This little guy typically has the smaller 18 to 55 on it, and the X-T4, the bigger one, has typically the 16 to 80. Yeah, Ted, you need to charge it, then take the battery out of it. That's what I do. I'm gonna just turn on a light real quick because it's a bit dark above me. I don't have any front lighting or anything like that, so anyway, that's all good. Yeah, and I've got also a 10 to 24 and a 70 to 300. And I typically bring the 3 zoom range lenses with me whenever I go anywhere. I got them cheap. Thankfully for X-Mount, there's still a used market for them, which is really good. So, you know, like this here's the 370 to 300. I believe that will be the 10 to 24. Yep. Oh, and it has a proprietary. Is it a Nikon or Nikon? And I think that was the 16 to 80. Yeah. So those are typically the 3 that I shoot with, and then the little guys got that. So yeah, today I was actually trying to get out before this weather comes in and actually get outside, because what I've been curious about is this camera has focal length marks, and I've been really wanting, because I've had this lens for about 5 years, I've been wanting to buy a prime lens, but the problem is I don't know. Oh, an Olympus. They're really good cameras, the Olympus. I've been trying to figure out what sort of focal length I like to shoot with, and I think it might be either a 23 or a 50mm. So I'd like to get something that's f2 or faster. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna the photos I've taken today are nowhere near as nice as these ones. These ones are all my like already processed photos that I've taken and put on my Flickr account. Wonder if there's anything else. Yeah, like a hawk. Greedy bird. But yeah, I don't have anything super fancy. Like the bodies, I'm not into like spending. Well, if ever, you know, money was never no object or no problem, then of course, you know, medium format would be really cool. But I tend to chase different lenses rather than the camera bodies themselves, to be honest. And I haven't felt a need to upgrade yet. These are all 24 megapixel sensors, so not exactly amazing by today's standards, but still they take great photos. Yeah, I just got to get myself, you know, upskilled. So will this reload? See, that's exported. If I go to 202603, so these are the ones I took the other week, and I don't know, I don't think I'm going to get anything good out of these. The lighting was horrendous, aka just full cloud cover, like no light on anything. It's just plain lighting. But this is just up from my house where I rent, and what I would love, it's kind of like a concept I've had in my mind for a really long time, is to get a really good angle on the end zone skydiving planes because I live near the flight path, and you know, with all the mountains and stuff, you know, maybe like a nice sunset, maybe snowy capped mountains. Yeah, so I figured, well, I've been trying to get out to this viewing point for months and months, probably about 6 months, and I've always never been up there at the right time if they've been flying, because, you know, the weather might be too bad and they're not flying, or they don't have enough bookings, you know, things like that. So I've never been able to get up there and take photos of the planes coming in, but this time I did, and it was a terrible day. It's Murphy's Law. So we're going to push the software, I think, to the limit. I used to edit with Lightroom, but now I'm editing with DxO Photolab. This is version 8. Yeah, basically just we'll see how we go. I do want to buy the new version because there's a newer version that's out, version 9. I'm sort of just playing around with this one to see, you know, if I really want to commit into the ecosystem. So yeah, we got that, and I've got this which I shot today, and I was trying different focal lengths. So I was playing around with a 23mm, a 35mm, and a 50mm. Yeah, you should get it on charge. The battery's probably smoked. And yeah, so I'm going to edit some of these and see if we can get anything cool out of them. If I like any particular focal lengths, I can have a look at some lenses and things like that, which would be cool. And that's about it. So, as I said, a pretty chilled out stream. I'm not doing anything too crazy. Right. So I'm going to start with today's photos. And it's fully clouded over now, so yeah. That's 35. That's basically 35. I tried to get the markings lined up exactly on the lens. So I'm just gonna have a look through and see which one of these I like. I didn't do any focus stacking, which I really would like to learn how to do. Because I didn't bring my tripod. And from what I understand with focus stacking, there has to be, you know, actually that one there might be the best. This rock is a little bit out of focus, but because I was focused on the foreground, but still got some lighting back here, which is nice, but it seems to be reasonably sharp. So I shot all of these typically at f5.6. It was ISO 160. Okay, so basically how I start is I just go through here and I turn on a bunch of this stuff, and unfortunately when you turn on this clear filter plus, it's very aggressive and I don't like it, so I try and turn it on and then back off as quickly as possible so it doesn't get in my eyeballs this horrible sort of, you know, that. And I do, there is vignette correction, but I actually turn the correction settings off because I quite like a little bit of a vignette. Not a lot, just a little bit of native character, you know, like I don't like sterile images. I try and keep it a little bit more organic. So the smart lighting feature will try and retain the highlight details, but allow you to bump the shadows a little. So I can try this. Let's brighten this up a couple of stops. Starting to lose the sky a little bit. Maybe back there. And I'll knock the highlights back a little bit. And try and use a filter on the sky. Bump the shadows up a little. I try to not do too much software stuff. I try and get it right in camera. I'm not a great photographer. But I do try to do most of my heavy lifting in the camera, so that the files typically just need just a little bit. I do, Ted. I have. There's a video on my channel that I did where I built my own. So I've got a 3-2-2-1 rule. I've got 3 copies of my data in 2 different places and 1 offsite. But I use Flickr to typically push my completed nice photos up online, so I guess there's also some sort of cloud storage. Have I got, I don't know how to use the tone curves properly, but maybe I yeah. I do shoot with auto ISO on. Hang on, this has changed. This used to have a Kelvin number. Oh, do you know? Okay, I'm looking at the JPEG. What a numpty. Raw. I need to select. Oh, you can't see this. Hang on. If I do that. Then that. Display capture. No. No. There we go. I'll get rid of all that guff. And then bring that back there. Yeah, sorry, I just realized I was looking at my JPEG. I was like, why is this RGB for my white balance? So what I'm going to do is go, well, first of all, I'm going to go copy metadata on the one I've been editing. Select raw only. Is it that one? Must be this one here. Paste. Oh, I can't. It's okay. Looks like we're gonna just have to do this again. Yeah, the old Synology. I had one of those, and then the SATA EDOM expired in it, and then the CMOS battery. And then when that happened, I just got rid of it. There's more detail as well in the RAW. So I typically do the clear view at 5 or 10% and adds just a little bit of definition to the photo, makes some of the details stand out. Don't mind the shadow detail on that, it's not actually too bad. Here we go, here's my Kelvin number. I do like to sit around 55, although it's a very bluish day, so maybe I'll go slightly cooler than I normally would. And then I typically add just a touch of saturation and vibrancy, just like 2%. Not a lot. Okay, so this is where DxO is considered leading class for noise reduction. So I typically do this one here. You can take a really noisy photo. In fact, I've got one actually that I shot that was really high ISO. So this bird, and like the noise reduction on the image was incredible. Yeah, so that's 6400 ISO. I don't have like my sensor is already a generation behind, you know, it's an X-Trans 4, I think, sensor. And that software is just incredible. There's another trip that I just did. Got some nice shots. There's a wax eye hiding. Of course, when you zoom in, that's where the old 24 megapixel runs out of path, but if you're looking from a distance, it's not bad actually. Yeah, I did Roy's Peak, and that killed my kneecaps. So much so that I couldn't walk the next day. I literally couldn't get out, almost couldn't get out of bed. And I had to go on that other walk just to get my knees to unseize, because it's like a 1500 meter climb. It was brutal. I'm not that fit, but yeah, you walk all the way along here and up, and it killed. Anyway, back to these less exciting photos. Again, the default image sharpening is way too heavy. Like, it looks like a cell phone sometimes when it just blasts the sharpness. So I do let it sort out chromatic aberration, which is like color fringing and things like that. Can make sure our horizon's all Yeah, this is the other thing I don't like. For some reason, the one in Lightroom just seemed to be a little bit easier to get right. Oh, that looks way off. Like, why does it move like that? Just things don't quite work how I would expect them to. But I've leveled out the horizon a bit there. I do believe the next version, this is one of the other, I don't know why, for some reason the software I'm willing to put up with its shortcomings because the files come out so nice, but it does have a few, like, and it's probably, it could be me, but there's no, oh, maybe auto mask might work. No, see, I wish there was like a sky select. So what I end up doing most of the time is just a gradient filter, even though it's not. My phone is ringing. I might have to pause and answer that for a moment. Okay, I'm sorry I had to take that. Thankfully, it wasn't my boss. It was a good friend of mine actually who's checking in. I wonder if I can take some of the blue out of this. Let's go more black and white, but that top left corner looks a bit weird. Oh, yeah, it's leveled out alright. I need to check out that other photo and see how it turned out. I think this could do with just a little bit of warming. Maybe around, whoops, 5,300? Yeah. And then maybe bump up the exposure a little bit. I'm using DxO Photolab version 8. In the Fuji world, there's not a huge amount of applications that seem to work really good with Fuji RAW files. I used to use Lightroom, but because I'm not a pro, I can get away with using and trying pretty much anything, but I've seemed to have settled on this. I have used Capture One. For some reason I found that a little bit harder to grasp. Okay, so let's check out our first photo. It's not very, like, it's not a bad photo, it's just not very interesting, I guess, but that tends to be a bit more par for the course. I think I might go back in and maybe, do I make the greens and yellows a little more vibrant? This is the one I just did. I do like these little colours on the rocks. Quite like this, actually. It's a solid photo. Maybe I'll just have a quick nosy. It's a good thing about editing photos is you don't have to, you know, rush. Maybe if I do team scene on both, how does that look? Maybe I can turn off, yeah, I can turn off the yeah, I like that. It has a photo library system. I sort my photos by year and then month and day. So I kind of do that myself. It doesn't, I don't think it really does. I think version 9 does. You can sort by, you know, camera type and all sorts of stuff like that, but version 8 that I'm using, pretty average. I mean, you can add, you know, I can give them star ratings, color ratings, sort by raw, processed, picked images. So that part is pretty nice. I'm not a power user. So yeah, I really struggle with getting the most out of software, to be honest. Ugh. Maybe my green. I don't tend to be honest, muck around with the colours too much. Let's see how that looks. And it is doing the processing. It's like the denoising and stuff too, which is really nice. I like that. Yeah, maybe we'll hang on to that one. Yeah, nothing too crazy. And like the same when I export my images, I do them by month and year. So like this here, Lightroom export 2026-04. They do have, if you do want the noise reduction aspect of this program, which is this here, which is really leading class, you can get a just the Deep Prime or whatever it is, or Clearview, I forget the name of the product, and it can plug in and it go direct to Lightroom or Photoshop, I believe. Bump the highlights up. I've just gone from negative like 20 to 14 just to make these rocks a little bit nicer. And what did I do here? Okay, yeah, because I was editing this while I was on the phone. Okay. Maybe I will grab this orange. Oh, way too much. There we go, that just makes the little bits on the rocks, the moss, just stand out just a little bit. I'm gonna overwrite that. Okay, how do these other ones? This is at the very start of the walk. So this is, actually I can show you guys where this is. If I go... so that is here. So this is Queenstown. There's the airport over there. I was walking around this. And this is the golf course. There's the yacht club. The TSS Earnslaw, which is like a 100-year-old steamboat, gets put up here and maintained as well. So yeah, there's some people playing golf. Is there any birds on this? No, just some dead leaves. Don't really know how these turned out, but let's just see. Just turn all this stuff on. A lot of the defaults I actually don't find too bad, they just add a little bit of extra. I'm gonna actually deliberately pull the shadows back just to see, and that was at 14, so what does 30 look like? The micro contrast, a little bit tough there, so maybe I'll try 19 and then bump that up maybe a little 2 stops, and then maybe the highlights knocked back -10. Yeah. Do I want to warm or cool this? What does my usual 5500 look like? Yeah, I don't mind that actually. How does it look on the other screen? Is the question. Yeah. Not bad. Again, I'm going to pull this sharpening all the way back to like 5 or 9%. I don't like the preset on that. Sorry about all the bikers and stuff going past. It's looking quite green. Maybe I could pull the saturation back just a smidge on the green. Is that more natural looking? Yeah, bring a little bit. Sure, there's a bunch of other stuff I could do. I find that I tend to not do a huge amount of editing. To the photos. Oh, there's a test one I did of the other photos I got to edit, which will be honest, I'm a little less excited about. Just because of the lighting. Yeah, now this is gone a bit weird. So to fix that, I believe that's to do with the denoiser. So maybe if I try that one, and maybe turn off the optimization. Some of those details can go a bit weird with that denoiser. Doesn't help that the OG's like that too. Kind of wish that tree wasn't there, now that I'm thinking about it. Should have used my feet more. I believe this was, what do you reckon, 23 mil? $44. I must have moved my lens. I was trying to shoot everything at either 23, 35 or 50. That's okay. I see now the trees a little more in focus on this one, so maybe I should do this. So I just copied and pasted the correction settings. This is the same lens, same ISO, f-stop. Yeah, so I shot that at 35 mil. So I kind of like the tree a bit more on this one, to be honest. So maybe I will crop this one. Go unconstrained. Not bad. I think I do need to bump the shadows on this one up a little. Well, that's mid-tone, sorry. Actually, what does the mid-tones look like? I mean, I should be able to use this. Let's see. God, this is so much faster on my computer than it is on my laptop. So when I was traveling, I had this little ThinkPad. Really good to travel with, but it's an 8th gen i7, and it's one of those like 4 core things is pretty much good enough for just the browsing the web now. And I tried exporting photos. I think it took about 15 to 12 minutes per photo to process, and that just took less than 20 seconds while streaming. Yeah, I quite like that. Let's compare. No. I like this one more because that tree's a bit more in focus. It's a little less distracting. Although I do like the compression more around the players. Oh well, moving on. This feels like quite an interesting photo actually with the hillside. Let's see what we get out of it. Okay. Okay, yeah, liking that. White balance. I'm gonna get on these red. Got to be very careful with this. Slider. It can wreak havoc with so much stuff in the photo. Quite nice, I like that. And I feel like I want to get rid of some of this bottom third of the image a bit more, because there's this huge big empty space back here, but I want to keep some of this hill because that's got some character in it. Maybe that. The sky I'm not too worried about. It looks like I managed to capture a bit of detail in that. So my camera must have just enough dynamic range. Just trying to be careful on this bottom left corner. In fact, I think I need to pull that. Just want to give that rock a little bit of breathing room, even though this is quite wide. In fact, I am also going to, I think, do that. Feel as pulled, and I'm not going to lower the exposure. I'm going to, I think, just pull the highlights back about 20% on that sky. And got nothing on you, Dave. See how that looks. Do you want to see what I've got so far? Really good. Got that. I've got that one. I probably should have warned everyone. This is mainly just photos of rocks and boats. Some golfers. That one I didn't like. Well, I liked the foreground, but the tree was a bit too out of focus, and it looks very distracting because it's right in the middle. That one's better. And that's what we've just edited. That one's something I was just trying that I've got to go back to. Nice. What else have we got? It's quite nice and moody. Did I go higher? Did I take a higher photo? Maybe with a bit of beach behind this big rock on the left? I did not. Okay, so this one was 23mm, 250, 23mm at 250, 23mm at 320. No, this is from today. So the weather's coming over, so I needed to get out and go for a walk, and I've been looking at getting a prime lens for the camera, because I've got this little guy that I've had for years, but I'm not too sure if what focal length I kind of like, and I think I'm swaying either to the 23 and the 50 are the two that I've mainly been shooting, but I also have a soft spot for 35, and that's APS-C, so 23 is probably more like a 30mm on full frame. 35 is probably more like a 40 something, 42 maybe, or 40. And the 50mm is on the APS-C is more like a 60. Thereabouts. So yeah, I've been setting this lens in the different focal lengths, and then just like practicing just moving it out and about. Yeah, I think I do need like a 50. I think I need 2. I think I would start with potentially a 23, which is more like a 30 mil. So not quite a 35, so a little bit more of a broader range. Because you can get these really nice small lenses for and this, because this is a small camera, this lens that's on it's quite heavy. In fact, it's so heavy that the camera tips. But yeah, that's fine when I put it on the big one. And then, yeah, I don't tend to travel. Well, I do travel a lot with the big one. What can I do here? Maybe I can... I don't want to go too bright in the shadows. I kind of like the darkness. Bump up the micro contrast and maybe a mid-tone bump. I almost feel like I should do maybe this. And maybe... maybe I could try this. No. I kind of like the character of the dark areas. Maybe I could do... that. Pull that back a little and then do okay, I'll leave that. And that, and I'll do a filter. This is not the correct way to do this. Just want to see what it looks like if I was to knock I've got away with that. See how that looks as I export it. See. I hate this stupid streamboo.com can't get rid of it on Twitch. Whatever. I think I got away with that side gradient filter. Maybe I could crop. Maybe this needs just a little crop. Yeah, there's a little less open space. And actually, I think I've changed my mind on the shadows. I think I need to bump that up to maybe 10. Just a small bit. I need more water. Might go and get some while that's exporting. See how that looks. I think it will look a bit better with a small crop. Yeah. Feels more focused on the rocks in the foreground rather than this big open sky. Which, to be honest, I quite like that there's a bit of cloud, although light is always hard. Getting good light, or some light. And how did this turn out? I only took one of this. Maybe I should have focused on the plant. You know what? Let's see. Let's see. Actually, I might leave this pretty heavy. Don't normally do that for the clear view, but it might work. Bump that up a stop. A little bit of mid-tone, and I will do that. 2 on that, and then does this need to be warmer? Or does it stay? I think I might leave this on the cooler side. It's a very dark grey day, so why not? Do 2 on that. Maybe the green. Extra 2% on that. And then I don't think I need to do a filter. I'll just see what it looks like. It's quite good. I've got one different monitor on the right and different one on the left, and I can kind of get a rough idea between the two because unfortunately they're different panels. One's a Asus monitor, the other one's a Dell, and I can they're very, very similar, but one's slightly redder, the other one's slightly greener. Haven't been able to get them quite the same or right, but I can look at the photo on both and it kind of averages out. I think maybe this could be a little brighter, maybe 20 up to 20. 1, 2. Split the difference. 30. Yeah. And how did my sky look? I'm almost wondering if I try doing this. And then do see how that looks. It's either gonna work or it's gonna look crap. Well, to be honest. Polishing turrets. Okay, so the left hand of the mountain just looked like that anyway. Up here I was worried that I had done something to that, but it's in the original. Quite like the detail in the rocks. Okay, I'll move on. I'm really lucky that this is just sort of on my doorstep. You know, like it's a 10-minute drive. Actually, I did wonder how this one might turn out. I had a really hard time with the histogram, trying to get the shadows and the highlights balanced. Actually, I'm going to do 5 on that. Maybe I'll bump that. The main problem with the slider for the highlights is it can look a little odd. Maybe negative 35. Okay, that looks alright. I think if I do that and then deliberately pulling the shadow back because I don't want the crap under the trees too exposed. Not very good light. Got a bit dark here, I think. So I was hoping for more light on the mountains in the background, like there's little gaps in the clouds. Gosh, the auto horizon tools. Yeah, okay, and then auto crop, and maybe Yeah, that looks pretty level. Yep. Get some details going. Yeah, do that, and I should warm this up a little. Yeah, I think the reds are a little bit. So if I pull them back. Then make that yeah, maybe the shadows could go up a little. See what that looks like. It's not a very good photo. Actually, what did I shoot that on? I think it was like a 50, wasn't it? Ah, 23. I think my aim at the end of this is to look at, you know, all the photos I took. What was the most popular focal length? And I guess that gives me a rough idea of what I like to shoot with. I like the rocks. In fact, maybe I should crop it a little. Oops. Straight. Whoa. Whoa. Get that log. And then maybe yeah, okay. Not a huge amount, maybe just enough. How did it look before? Yeah, okay, it's quite busy. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I had to go and shut my windows. For some reason my neighbors just seem to eat fish. I don't know what it is. Every time they cook something, the vents are just outside my windows. The extraction from the kitchen, and this greasy smelling fish is all you can smell. I know I quite like, you know, a bit of battered fish myself, but seems like I just live off battered fish or deep fried. It's like oily fish. You know, wafts through the whole apartment. It just gets captured in my room. It smells fish. Fresh fish. It's no, definitely not fresh. It smells like ass. Right. How many have I done? Oh god, I've barely done any. Look at all this. Oh, I took a lot of photos today. There's my car. Okay, maybe I need to be a bit more brutal. This song's annoying. Skip it. Royalty free. Ugh. Yeah, this town. Just becoming more of a city. Some photo of a tree, I guess. I'm going to start being a bit more brutal on what I'm picking here to edit. A bench overlooking the lake. Terrible angle of the bench. No, maybe if I'd done a better angle, if I'd thought about it for more than 10 seconds. Oh yeah, that's right, the jet boat in the background. I just thought it'd be cool to try and capture it as it was going past, even though I knew that everything else around the photo was average. I'm going to spend a little bit of extra time on this location. I really like the rocks. So Queenstown doesn't have any sandy beaches as such. It's got rocks. Actually, I quite like some of the colours. Once again, wish I could have focus stacked. ISO 320, 23mm, 250 seconds. 200 seconds, so this one will be a little brighter. Where is my histogram? Up there, okay. Yeah, okay, so that will have more... not too bad on the shadows. Okay, let's try this one. My eyes are bleeding from that clear view. Yeah, okay, okay. And then... No, and then... God, it's a terrible film. Okay. Looks like I need to get my horizon leveled. Yeah, try that out. Nice. Does this need to be warmer? I think I will keep it on the cooler side. Okay. Reach micro contrast. This is very messy back here. Don't know what's going on. Feels like there's something not quite right with those trees. That's okay. Do that. Actually, how does 4% look? Okay, what can I do about the sky? Because it's looking a bit... I really should be using the brush on that, but I'm too lazy. What details do I have set? None yet. Okay, so let's do that. Let's have a butcher's. Should have tried to focus stack. Really need to learn how to focus stack. You know what? It's full of mistakes, but I'm gonna keep it. Cut the left side's looking a bit average. I should have tilted, you know, more to the right, like moved physically a little more right. But I wanted to get the background here of the mountains in. But I knew that this would be all out of focus because I focused sort of... Well, actually I tried to focus back here, and I thought I did that on one of them. Did I not? I think it was maybe... Actually, maybe this one might be a better candidate. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will cheat. Copy all the corrections I just did. I'm going to crop out the left a bit more. Get rid of that. Maybe. The tree's still annoying me on the left. Maybe if I include... Yeah, so the problem is this rock. Don't believe there's much I can do. It doesn't feel too offensive. Right. Actually, I think I might brush. The key is if I don't go too heavy, it leans better. Let's whack that out. See. Oh, it's just my chair. Oh, your neck is killing me. Right. I think I need to brighten it by another stop. But compared to the other one, I mean, what do you want? Do you want the rock and focus, or do you want the foreground? Maybe the foreground, because I do like all the rocks around are nice and sharp. You can see the mountains, that tree on the left. Because I think with it out of focus, it's a little. There's too much of it out of focus, if that makes sense. So to me, it just feels. It feels like I'm just focusing on one rock in the front, and the rest of it's just. Yeah, I think there's too much going on the outside of it to have just that single focal point. I think it works better or feels more normal that it's in focus on the outside. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna try and leave that alone. I think there's some boats going by. Lighting is clouds in the sky and everything were just all over the place. Let's see. Probably one of the few times that the heavy Clearview Plus doesn't look, well, it looks bad, but it doesn't look like horrendously out of place, where you can go a little heavy. I think this might be one of the rare times that I'll ever go beyond 10%. And then maybe the shadows. And then I think what I'm going to do is brush maybe a slight bit of brightening here. Not a whole lot. I don't want that to be too bright. And a little bit of mid-tone. Sorry, micro contrast. To add just like a little bit of natural sharpening with contrast. I feel like this is probably more suited for cooler tones, but let's see if I... I'll leave the white balance adjustment. Wasn't too sure on that. I do need to get this horizon sorted. It's not off by much. What did I shoot that at? I think that was like 35? 23 mil. It surprises me actually. I seem to shoot a lot at the 23 mil. I think this is one of those times where a gradient filter might work to help with yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, I quite like that. Just enough shadow detail on the rock that it's not distracting. You know, you focus more out on the lake. Actually, I thought I took a photo with a boat going past. I think it was further on. Yeah. There's the track I was walking on. Just gonna have a quick play with this, even though it's not gonna look, I don't think it's gonna work, to be honest. I don't think that turned out very good at all, but it was more just the way the trees were all spaced out in between each other. I thought might be quite interesting, but yeah. Move on. Oh, this was quite cool. So the sun was coming out behind me, well, to my right shoulder, and it was blasting the side of this wharf, and in the background, I just thought it looked quite cool, so I got a couple of photos of it. So this will be 35. So a little tighter. I think I might go for this one because the light has changed on the trees back here. Whereas here there's less of it, so the light that does exist stands out more, which I quite like. So let's give it a go. Lock my highlights back. And I feel like this here is going to need a filter. And potentially one up here to maybe brighten that. If I do that, then maybe there on the shadows. It's hard because I feel like I need to get a filter on that ASAP. So I feel like this needs normally I darken the skies, but whoa. What's going on? Yeah, I think that might work. Really hard to get those filters. Now, does this need warming? think it favors cooler. Maybe... actually maybe 5100? Okay. How's my horizon looking? Are we level? Oh yeah, actually level. Okay. I feel like I need to pull these highlights back just a little. So like this here, just, oops. Yeah, that's looking good. That's not so like bah in your face. Let's see how it looks. I'm going into a little more effort on the editing side than I normally do. Normally it's like, I don't know, 2 minutes of photo. I normally just tick those boxes, pull them so they're barely making any difference, and then pull the sky back a little. That looks good. The sky is a little dark though, and purpley. So maybe if I do that, and then that, and I wouldn't mind quite like that. That's quite a bit warmer. Maybe I think that's quite maybe 5800, 57. Yeah, okay, that's nice. A little less distracting on the sky. It's not as purpley blue. So it's a bit brighter. So it's not just in the dark. A little bit of micro contrast. Out the sharpening. Middle part of the island's brightened up. Try and emphasize the sunlight that's hitting the edges of the trees on some of these ones. And these ones here. And then the wharf, of course, I've pulled the highlights back so you can see some detail in the wood, as well as a little bit under the wharf. Lovely. There's only one thing I wish I had done, is moved maybe a little bit left to get this left side in, because that tree is too close to the left side of the frame. The wharf, happy with the right. This rock's a bit out. Again, if I'd spent any more than 2 seconds on it. Yeah, and all of them, of course, are the same focal length. So that was a 32, was it? 35. Definitely more compression. Okay. Wow. Don't know what was going on with the colour there. It It kind of looked cool. Excuse me. Let's first of all straighten this. Bend it like Beckham. And I am going to do this. Quite nice. Whoops. Okay, let's get some adjustments going here. A bit too heavy on that old clear view. So, got to be careful with blues and greens with this clear view. It just makes them just blam, you know, like real heavy. There's some situations that works. Like here I'm at 2%. In fact, what if I just turn that off? Oh, that's probably my micro contrast, but I'll pull the highlights back, bump the shadows. Yeah. And that's about all I want to do there. Very minimal. I do, however, want to get that sky under control. Do a brush. Learned that if I bring the micro contrast up a little bit, it brings that cloud back in. I think I feel like I got too close to the top of the mountains with my brushing, so I don't like the brush tool. Bogus. I'm going to delete it and start again here. Go away. don't mind a little bit because it should hopefully blend. This is where those newer apps come in play because they've got the AI selection, which makes selecting the sky a lot better. It's kind of tedious if I'm honest. I think I'm going back to my original. Looks a little less distracting. Ugh. Bloody bit of my neck is good. Yeah. It's got a nice area of Queenstown that actually I've always liked it. You can bike all the way along here as well to the, you know, Frankton area, and used to bike there to work. So work up and do work up there on the top. Thunderjet. Thunder. There's a photo, meh. Guy with his dog. They came bounding over. Park bench. Give it a quick whirl, see what I can get out of this. Probably nothing. Doesn't need warming though. Yeah. I think I need to crop a little. Do that now to keep the vision. Right, color. Warmer. Because of the autumn leaves. Yeah. I do need to pull the reds back. Meh. I'll leave it. I'll leave them. Micro contrast, bump that up to 20. Oh, I should quite like that. Oh, it's quite defined. Feels like the colours and everything are defined. Whatever that means, you know, there's meat on the bone. Because I didn't want that path there to be too distracting, but just visible. It's mainly about the bench and the trees. I think I've achieved that, although the trees are very tall, so I would have had to have stepped further back or zoomed out, which means the bench would have been more not in the focused view of the eye. There'd be more of the footpath and gravel and stuff just filling the frame. It was kind of like every way you look at a very compromised image. The only way you'd be able to get around this maybe is if the trees were shorter and you can see the tops of them. That's photography. Getting near the end here. Yeah, I've only got another 80 to go. The boats in my mind were gonna be my, like, oh gosh, just skip that. The boats were supposed to be my, like, go-to, like, subject item that I had in my mind before coming here, but the problem with that, when you try and perceive an idea, for some reason for me it just never works out, and I end up getting better photos of things that I didn't actually plan to take photos of. Oh gosh, this is well off. I need that tire. Maybe if I do this. Or yeah. This is not going to be a good photo. Wow, that came out horrible. This is my actual first big flop that I feel like I've done on that shooting session. And it's because God, I didn't get it level at all. Therefore I've lost that photo because I can't get it all in frame. I mean, and also the subject's boring. And this is what I was like, oh yeah, there's boats and kayaks down in the yacht club. That'll be cool to take photos of. Yeah, average. Oh yeah, these people scared the bird off. I was going to take a photo of it. They walked in front of it. That wood there's crappy. That wood wasn't there? Yeah. Under the earth. There's a bird back there. Something just doesn't feel right. It feels close that this would be a decent enough photo. Something, maybe too much sky. Maybe I'm just gonna try this. If I just do that. And maybe even that. Not feeling it. However, I will do a crappy quick edit, which is typically how I edit my photos most of the time. Sure. Let's see. See the sludge. It's shit, Austin. Gosh, it tastes like shit. It is shit, Austin. Nah. Brighter. It needs to be brighter. Like, that bright. And then the shadows need to go up a lot. And that needs to go on like ham. Nah. It's gonna be bogus. Go away, music. If I could get away with playing my own, I listened to some Santana recently, and that's been quite nice. Something a little bit different. How are we looking? It's average is best. It needs light. There's not enough light. That's kind of cool. I like the parts of the photo. I like the stones. I like the washed up bits of land with the trees growing out of it. Gosh, I've already cropped it. I've already cropped it a lot, but yeah. More, it needed more sunlight. There was more sunlight on bits. Also, if that tree bush wasn't cutting off the wharf. Yeah, I think conceptually, angles and light, not great. Therefore, combined made for a shitty photo. I think that's why I liked potentially this one, but the problem is the boat was moving too quick. You know, it's simpler. We have the land there, the wharf, and the mountains. Not as much sky, not as much dead space. I like the gap between the land. I think maybe if I'd stood higher, a little bit of a tilt down to get the wharf, the gap between the land and the wharf, maybe a little higher, that would have been better. You know what, I'm gonna just give this one just a touch up. I mean, I did the other one, I might as well have a go at this one. Needed quite a bit of brightening, didn't it? This one doesn't appear to need quite as much. Maybe... yeah. Micro contrast, bring that up. Ham that on. Needs quite... This is one of those, because of the lighting, we're going to rely on, unfortunately, a lot of software light. So this is when you crank this clear view, which I don't like. Warmed it up a little, not a lot. Give it a little bit of vibrance, maybe bump the blue up a little more. And that, yeah, and I need to level this out. Do I? I think it's mostly there. Yeah, looks good. It's a shame that their boat's there like that, just cut off. You know, what's a bit of photography without learning. The thing is though, if you spot things like this, yeah, I like the sky there. If you spot things like that, you learn from them. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Alright, let's compare. So we got this one, which 90% of, well actually 80% of the components no, 70% of the components I like. So there's three things wrong that I can see with this. Not enough light. The wharf needed more of a gap between potentially the land and the lake. I was talking about this specific gap here that runs along, and the boat is off the frame. The old $1 million cruise, eh? Old Betty and Wayne. Actually, I think they sold that business, but I think out of the two, actually they do feel similar. This one feels more like there's stuff going on. This one feels more componentry focused. And they're both turds, and I don't know which one of them. It's like, I don't know. Do you want to lose your left eye or your right eye? That's what it feels like. Both are shit options. Actually, I'd probably lose my left. Yeah, because when I take photos, I'm always using my right eye. Even though I use my left too when I'm taking photos. Oh, this cracked me up. So I was like, oh yeah, this will be cool. Cut the top of it off. And had to go well further back to get the top of it in, but then the trees covered it. The old flagpole thing, if those pine trees weren't there. Anyway. Got some, well, these aren't abandoned boats, they're just long-term stored. Interesting to show that at 45. Wonder how I got that. Yeah, okay. Right. I see. I thought I was trying out 50mm, but I did not. Yeah, because right smack bang in the middle on my lens between 35 and 55, which are marked as the, of course, 45. So if I had turned it a little more, yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Average. Not enough light. Bad composure. Standard for me. Let's just see. I can just give this one a crack, eh? Turn the vignette correction off. That blue on that metal pole is really distracting. Even though it's just a reflection of the tarp that's opposite this boat. That's okay. To be honest, I don't think I'm gonna get much out of this. Yeah. Maybe greens back here can go a little 5% on them. Get some details going. Blah, blah. Average. Again, the main subject in my mind, the boats. No, I'm going near the yacht club. I like the boats. Always nice. Like I took one of the photos that I really liked. I did on my last trip. You know, I got this boat, which came out a little bit average. But these, I quite liked these ones. You know, they can look good. Nah. Boring. Again, I'm very critique-ish on myself at the moment, aren't I? That's right, this one I mucked up on the first one, so I accidentally cut off the bow tip of the boat, or the yacht, and I went further back, cut off that one. I think this one, oh no, did I get... Yeah, I think I liked... I think I liked this one. Let's trial this one out. I'm gonna crop in. Okay, meh. I'm pulling the shadows back because that's just all shit behind these boats, and it's not what I would call the subject. So I'm trying to use some light Okay. Okay. Boom. Right. That's not what I want. So I've kept the same aspect ratio, which is not yeah, it's not really working. So I'm gonna do that. Cut that window off. Okay, I've got the separation between the boats. I haven't cut off the bowels. Making a lot of noises. I mean, yeah, baby. I don't mind it. Actually, I like it more than these. Actually, now that I've sort of taken a palette cleanser from this, they both look still really shit. That looks shit. It's shitty, but it's less shitty. Good analysis. How do people do this for a living? Oh, you know what? I need to crack a beer open or something. I've only got like 3-4 more to eat out. Back in a second. I need a cold drink. My voice is killing me. I don't normally talk while I'm editing. Well, I've only got one of these left, so these are limited edition. Canyon Brewery Hazy from the NZ Open. And they're a pale ale. I don't know, I think they slightly overfilled these, because when you open them, a little bit always seems to pop out onto the top of the can. Yep. Like it's chocker. And it goes all over your hands. Sound like Jason Statham. That clip of, you know, he's been just told to move out of the handicap zone and he's parked. Can't do it. I told you to be quiet. Well, average. Your eye... See, hang on. So the way I shoot... I'm like a magpie. So my eye will just... Like, I'm not looking... I don't know what to look for in particular. But my eye will... It will pick up on something. Like a magpie, like something shiny. In my mind, I'll see something like this log. Well, here's some examples. So, you know, I liked the rocks here with the little colours on them. I liked the sunlight hitting the back of the trees here. You know, I was looking at the lighting between the footpath here and the trunks. Back here, you know, this was all lit up, but over here was dark. So, like, it's... Yeah, I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. And I'll just take a photo, not properly composing. And then you end up with, sometimes, like, my eye will look at this and go, oh, yeah, you know, like, through the trees and the hill. And see the mountains, and then you take a photo and it looks really shit. Like, I think a lot of these are going to look pretty bogus. There's just not enough light. There's light on the mountain, but nothing on here. Like, it just looks dark. You can't do anything with it. You know, you can't... You know, oh, I'll just brighten up the shadows. Cool, now you've got a contrastless, you know, image. There's no character. And that's what I'm trying to get better at. It's picking light. I mean, like, stuff can look average, but if there's some light around it, it can help a lot. And I think that's what I'm learning more and more often than not, is lighting is key. Yeah, let's see what we can do with this. Likely nothing. Oh man, that beer is good. My voice. That needs to be, that tree needs to go. It's the leaf there is encroaching on the pontoon drum. Again, average lighting. Can't do anything about it. It's just, I knew that I was pushing uphill to get really anything out of these, because, well, it was just so cloudy. In fact, it's even worse. Like, it's not raining. It's just that thick grey shit. Really crap cloud. Warm that up a smidge, bump up a little bit of colour. Let's do 4. Actually 5. And then I need to put a gradient filter on that sky, get rid of all that guff. All the highlights back a smidge, the exposure back a little, and then the key is the micro contrast. You can see the clouds. If you do it just enough, a little bit of cloud definition. Wow. Maybe a bit of that. Boom. That's about all that I think I can get out of this. Yeah, no light. Just averages much as possible. I've just seen that buoy hiding. Oh well. I mean, I like the boat. The boat looks good. You know what? They actually all look pretty average. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, that one's not too bad. There's some light. That one I don't mind. It's, on purpose, it's very grey. I find that image, the lighting's not great, but it's a very interesting image. Right, actually, you know what? Before I review, let's wrap this up. Let's see, what else have we got? Yeah, okay. Average, more average photo. I'm gonna try the old tone curve tool out. That lighting is just... it's terrible. I mean, there's just nothing... The more I look at it, the more I dislike it. It just looks so average. This, I don't like this. This part in the middle. It sucks. It just looks really crap. There's just no... I'm pushing shit uphill. Like I've gotta learn to quit. It's just not happening. There's just nothing in it. There's no light. I'm actually kind of frustrated because I actually kind of liked. I like the lake. I like the sliver of land that's under it. Now I've got a haze around the mountains and yeah. No. I need to do something about this. Yeah, this is gonna like really average. A lot of feathering. Feathering will help buffer out the edges. I think I've pushed that as hard as I can. I think my eyesight's starting to go as well. Yeah, I'm getting like this tired eye. Been editing photos for 3 hours. I think it's probably too long. This does need cropping. This is all just boring. Cloud's quite nice. I mean, it's not bad. It is bad, but it's not bad. It's just a bit more light, like what's back there on there. The water can be dark. That's fine. I mean, the one thing I will say is it adds a sort of 3D-ish layering to the image. So it's smoking. Here's my car, which I just cleaned yesterday with my drug dealer wheels. I got a thumbs up from a guy that was driving past. He saw me taking photos of it. Yeah, that's average. Okay, let's review. So out of the how many images did I get? Of the 121 photos that I took, I have taken away 22, which a third of those are different angles that are average at best. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't expecting to get anything like book-worthy. But I wanted to play around with focal length, so... Okay, so that's a 35mm. That's also a 35mm. A little tight compression, not too bad. That is a 35mm. So we have I need to get a spreadsheet going here. I'm going to do 23mm, 35, oops, 35mm, and 50. So the images I like, oh, the images that were taken, okay, so that one is a 35, 35, 35, so that's 3 so far. That would have been a 50. Quite like that. Something about that image just feels cool. I think it's because there's bits of light hitting the back. There's enough light on the field. There's stuff happening. It feels intended smoothness. Don't know, there's something about it. I just like it. That is a 23. That is a 23. That is a 23. I'm tallying up all the lengths. That's also a 23. I'm going to count that other one because it's essentially the same image. That is also a 23. That is a 35. That is a 35. Which I feel like I should have taken with the equivalent 23mm. That is supposed to be a 50mm, but I shot it at 45. Well, actually, there might be a 45mm lens. That is a 23. That's supposed to be a 45. That's a 23. That is a 45/50. That's also a 45. That is also a 45. That is also a 45. Oops. And that is a 300 mil. But I need to go and edit these. Actually, I might do a quick edit job. Okay, so I hate that my last two comments on my stream are just bot garbage. So this is what I've realized. Okay, so today's shooting, the most two popular focal lengths are either a 50/45, because I thought I was shooting it at 50, but I misread my marking. So 40/45 and 23. The shots that I felt that I had taken with the 35, I felt like I could have gotten with the 23 and just cropped. So I guess if I was to pick two primes, it will be a 23 and a 50. And without looking at the specs, let's do a slideshow. I'm gonna move my microphone so I can sit back and look at this. Okay, as I was looking through them, I have copied the photos that I like the most, that that I'm happy to post to my Flickr, which to be honest I end up just shoving up pretty much all of these anyway. But if I had to pick them, you know, out of the batch, to go, these are my favourite ones from today's shoot, we have 6, which is actually more than what I was expecting. So here's my favourites. This one, because I just like the lighting over the rocks. There's still some of those red things. I don't know, it just feels kind of cool. I love, for some reason, I think this one might be my favourite for some reason of the batch. The clarity behind the photo, there is enough light. I think maybe just enough light, just enough, barely enough to create some sort of sharpness and absorption for the scenery. So the first thing that comes to mind is the background of the skyline Bob's Peak. You can see the light is hitting there, bringing out the golden colours of the grass. Got the light, the strip of light, so it definitely shows that there's cloud, there's sun coming through that cloud, and there's strips of light hitting the mountains. And then I think because of maybe just a smidge further back there was a little more light poking through, we have the golf players here doing golf things. Don't know how to play golf. And the field, it creates this, it's open space, but it feels like it's not big dumping open space. It feels unique compared to just water open space or gravel open space. I think it's because of the mixture of textures in the corner. I don't want to crop it too wide, to be honest. So when you do that, if I was to take more of this out, you need a bit more sky, or like to get that ratio of stuff. Sun's poking back out. This one, it needed more light, definitely did, but I just love the rocks. So much just texture on them, layered. Really cool. This one I like just because, like, it's a gravel beach. Like, what grows? What grows on a gravel beach? But yet, here's a plant. This one I liked the light on the wharf. Also, I love wharfs. The trees are cool. The back, no. The sky and the mountains, very shitty. I wonder if I was to, like, I'd almost crop it. But then it exposes this, the left side that I kind of chopped off a little. And that is where the difference between a good photographer is and an average one. This one, I just liked the colours and the darkness of the path. That's not too bright, but you can still see it. It still feels like there's something going somewhere. And that's it. So yeah, we definitely had out of this. So what's that? That's a 35. That one's a 50. 23, 23, 35, 23. So I need like a 23 and a 50, essentially. I go here. Okay, let's see what we can get. So I'm going to filter by prime lenses. Okay. The good thing with Fuji is there is a lot of native options and third-party options. However, if you want small lenses, which I do because I want to put them on this XT30, I really want either pancake lenses like these little guys, well, these are 23 f2.8, that's weather resistant WR. My camera body is not, but or so you can get, see that just looks too big and heavy. You can get a f1.4. This is in French. I don't know. I hate all this marketing guff. Where's the spec? Actually, to compare that, so that's 375 grams. So what I want to know is my 18 to 55. How heavy is that? This is it here. Oh yeah, by the way, this one's got image stabilization. It's not weather sealed, but neither is the body. But it's one of the cheaper zooms. It's an f2.8 and it's got stabilization, optical stabilization. It's one of the older lenses in the lineup. Okay, so just shy of 500 grams, so that one is lighter. $75mm long. Oh, wide, sorry, 97mm wide. Okay, so it's a little shorter. Probably without that part. So it'd be about there. So it's not too bad. How much is it? 23mm 1.4. Oh, meh, expensive. So if you think about it this way, when you shoot stuff, I'm shooting normally at f4, f5.6, f8, typically for landscapes. If I'm doing any sort of, well, actually, let's have a look. Okay, so this is my Flickr account. Let's go back quite a few. What do I shoot at? This will be like f5.6. This will be a lower f-stop. Oh no, that was f16, sorry, my mistake. Oh, that was right, to get the shutter speed and stuff. This will be on my 70 to 300. F7, you know, like, I think the only time, do I have any street? F7. It's one of my favorite photos. Yeah, F8. So the thing I'm wondering is, like, do I even need an f1.4? I doubt it. I mean, astrophotography, yes, that every little bit of light will help, but f1.4 to f2 make the difference. So you know, it's an extra, like, almost $900 for just a smidgen faster. Not even a full stop. I mean, if you want the bleeding edge. But the thing I like about this is these are small. This is actually quite an old lens, actually. I mean, you see here they reference X Pro 2, XT1 and XT2. Like, we're up to XT5. However, good glass doesn't just typically just age, like, you know, like camera body specs. Like, good glass lasts you years and years and years. Granted, I've heard that with higher megapixel, the resolution on the lenses can be a bit. However, at this moment I've got a 24 megapixel sensor. The lens is perfectly capable of being resolved on that. And to be honest, someone once said if you're zooming in that close on your corners and stuff like that for sharpness, then you've taken a bad image. And like, I've got a 10 to 24, and I consider that probably the worst for corner sharpness. So yeah, this is 180 grams as opposed to almost 500 for the 18 to 55. It's small. And then it's only 60 mil long. Like, that's not... Yeah, that's like... Yeah, just looking at this. Yeah, it's definitely smaller. So I think... I definitely would like to save... for one of these. Actually, they normally have a second hand. Let's just see. So it's the equivalent of a 35, which, yeah, it's decent, but it's a standard. It's very safe focal length. But as it turns out, I tend to favour that slightly more than a 35. You can do... Oh, that's a macro lens. I don't know if you can use that. So you got this one, which is even smaller. I do like that little lens hood that you can get. Yeah, so this is the 23, 180 grams, 60 mil long, a little heavier, same length, by 10 grams. Well, I wonder how much that goes for. Oh, interesting. It's a 53 mil equivalent. Gosh. Interesting. I was well off on my estimates for focal length. Gosh, that menu bar is so annoying. And my computer mouse is frozen. Sweet, can't move the mouse, but the rest of the computer still works, obviously. Might mean I have to end the stream. If I can. One moment. Yeah, mouse is back. Plug it in. Ugh. Yeah, I might end it here and just do some research. I hear the XC35 F2 is good value. It's plastic though. And then you can get a 50. What is that an equivalent to? So there it is on an XT20, so that's the predecessor to my XT30, which has had 3 revisions. I don't know why, I've never understood. So you got the XT30, the XT32, then the XT33. And they keep adding little things. The only thing I think with the latest XT33 is they got rid of the drive dial, which is, you know, where you can select video, continuous low, high, your drive settings. And I like having that there. I don't really use presets. I mean, I have, but I don't really want a dedicated preset button. This is me personally. But Fuji always try and make equipment for many people. Okay, so that's the equivalent to a 70mm. Do they have a 40-ish? No. And of course there's Viltrox. You know, you could get they got their Pro range, which is only like, I don't know, like 1200 NZD, $1,200 for their top tier lens. I mean, these are all metal. They're very nice. Quite big though. I mean, that's it on an XT5. There's a 15mm on an XT33. Oh, sorry, this is either an XT30 or an XT32 Mark II. They do make a 28mm pancake lens, which I quite like. There's no lens cap. That's that little thingy there is the lens cap. Very small. I'll put it to you this way, like this camera, like that is it in my hand. Like if without this lens, like it's not a big, camera, and that's why I like traveling with it, but it feels very premium, apart from the rubber's now degrading around the eyepiece and around here, which you can still buy on AliExpress, new rubber grip parts. Or maybe it's the XT50 I'm thinking of, that drive dial thingy on the top, which is not drive dial. Ah, but it's an f4.5. Gosh, they're so cheap though. $239 for a new lens. $85mm equivalent. I think I tend to sway. So a 33 for Viltrox is a 50mm equivalent. It's an f1.4. They've got great image quality. I think these generally do. The only annoying thing is they're quite large. And then you got this one. Which isn't too big. 35mm equivalent's a 50mm. Sorry, 35mm prime, 53mm equivalent. 170 grams. I think it might be made out of plastic. Yeah, I think it must be, because they say precision hardened aluminium alloy mount. Not the body. That's what you get in the box. It's like one of those things. I think what I would do is I would buy used. I'd probably buy used this like 23mm. Which is a 35 equivalent. Probably not quite wide enough. I wonder, is there an 18? There's the Pancake 18. And then there's the 27mm Pancake. Quite torn. But I did take a lot of my photos with that focal length, so Right, I need to jump off. I need to end this stream. It's turned into just shopping. Right, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Alright, bye for now.